So is that what you're you're saying though, that they're gonna fill the cracks and then put
Yes.
a thin layer over the top? That would, I mean, I don't know that I've ever played on that, but that seems like logically that would be a lot better than just filling the cracks, cause, yeah.
John did give an example of a few places that the person had, that the contractor that he had spoke to had redone.
Okay.
However, I don't know if those areas have the same clay issues and soil underneath
Mhm.
to where what the longevity of those repairs would be, but I think something, like I said last meeting with that information, something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
Because the risk of, even though they play at their own risk, I still would not like to see someone hurt out there,
Yeah.
so.
Adam,
I have pictures on my phone from June 1st of 2022. If anybody needs to document where they're at now and where they're at then. Furthermore, it appears to me as though the weeds growing and the water going into the cracks are more dangerous than the substrate at this point in time. Thank you.
That's a good point.
council, I will entertain a motion to authorize our Big Sky Big leadership to pursue, yes, ma'am?
I have one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys do move forward, if we could get a letter of support.
Well, you know, if you just wait until I finish talking.
Okay.
We'll entertain a motion to authorize the Big Sky Big Leadership Group, project for resurfacing, temporary repairing of the tennis courts, and to support said project to the extent that we can, in terms of assisting with the grant application, letters of support, that sort of thing.
I will make said motion.
I will second said motion.
It's a good thing the recorder is right here. It's been moved and seconded that the city will authorize our Big Sky Big Leadership Group to proceed with the project for resurfacing, temporary repairing of the tennis courts, and to provide letters of support and assist in grant applications to the extent that we can. Is there any further discussion from council? From the public? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adam, we haven't heard from you tonight yet.
I'm here for 3 items. The first of which, the Townsend Fall Fest event, is 7 months away. I'm asking on behalf of the Rotary Club to use the park and to get the park on the calendar for that weekend of the first weekend in October, which is October 3rd, 4th, 5th. Realistically, we're asking for usage starting the 2nd, ending the 5th, or 6th by noon. Because that's when stuff's gone. The second is to proceed forth with closure of the street for the car show. We would like to extend our closure all the way to Harrison, just in case. And we also will be making sure that that is on the MDT app, that the app is aware that the road is closed, so folks can go around it. So those are my big 2 items.
Is that Pine to Harrison or all the way?
Highway to
Oh,
Harrison.
Okay.
Historically, that has been, the street closure has ended at the courthouse. This year, the event did go 1 block further than that, and we just wanna go a little further on the permitting side, just in case, but those are different conversations.
Okay, there's been a request from Townsend Rotary, sorry. Been a wild day.
Oh, you don't know half of it.
from Townsend Rotary to use Heritage Park, there we go, for the Fall Fest, October 2nd through the 6th at noon. Is there a motion from council?
I make a motion.
Second that motion.
We're shortchanging emotions all of a sudden.
Oh, if I can interpret there, it's been moved and seconded to authorize Townsend Rotary to use Heritage Park for the Fall Fest, October 2nd through 6th at noon, 2025. Is there discussion from council? Any comments from the public? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. We'll entertain a motion to approve street closure on Broadway from Front Street to Harrison on October 5th.
Just October 5th, yeah, 6 a.m.
Sunday.
6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Sunday, I believe is what the permit has historically said.
Okay, October 5th, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Question.
Yes.
Do we need the paperwork to make this motion?
That would probably be a good idea. I will rescind my request. Start working on the application, the paperwork.
Yep, we were just making sure that this was a conversation worthy of proceeding forward with.
Yes.
Vivian?
So your closure down to Harrison, it's gonna be on this side of Harrison. Where are you gonna reroute traffic?
The same,
Same thing?
no different on the
It'll
reroute.
just be on this
The
side,
map
but
is the
not
same.
complete closure?
The map is the same, we're just extending 2 blocks just because that way we've done it.
The last 2 blocks have always been a buffer for them. They always block it right at Harrison at my house, even though the car shows a couple blocks down. That way it gives them the additional 2 blocks. Thankfully, this year they had that extra space, so.
Vivian's point that was well taken, you have to keep the intersection clear.
I just wanted to,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all, I wanna make sure it was on this
Yeah,
side,
no,
and
it-
basically it's the same,
Well, yeah, it has to be on the other side because you would
So
have no
it would be
turnaround.
To Harrison, not through Harrison.
Yes, ma'am.
Prepositions are important.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no objection from council, I would say proceed with the request.
Okay, and my last request is that if the council has any issues with the Townsend Fall Fest event, the running thereof, how it's handled, please bring that up to us at this point in time. Our first meeting was supposed to be tonight, but we canceled it so that we could have, more folks here. Jeff and I represent a group of 10 individuals each, but the rest stayed home because of the weather. Last year, there was some confusion with the vendor stuff, that came up. We were amenable to that. And we just wanna make sure, it seems like over the past few years, there's been more and more pushback from city officials towards the event. And we're just trying to figure out where the event lies with the city, if this is a good welcome event, or if we're causing problems. Because as of the first Fall Fest meeting, the volunteer hours start. The volunteers don't gain anything. We're just trying to make the world a better place. So if there's any issues that we need to bring up or discuss, I'd sure like to do that.
Okay?
But, yeah,
Yes.
we're working on the event ordinance.
Okay?
It's theoretically possible for the event ordinance to be put into place before Fall Fest takes place, but what we need to do is to involve Rotary as soon as our committee is comfortable that we have something to present to council. That's when we need to get Rotary involved to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Okay, so the last time Rotary was here, we sent the former commissioner out of the room crying because she felt that she was treated poorly for how vendors were to be treated during and for that event, so.
That's all part of that's all being addressed in the event ordinance. But unfortunately, we're not in a position to hand a copy of that over tonight, it's still very much in a draft.
Okay. Well, we're very much trying to put an event together with several
know.
thousand people attending, so we just wanna make sure that there's no issues, that we're gonna move forward.
The committee meetings for these sorts of things are open to the public. So, the committee can make sure Rotary is informed of the meeting times. It might be beneficial to have Rotary's input during, as part of the creation. Vivian?
Adam, has Rotary also considered that we're gonna have some construction during that time with the water project? I mean, not that anything is scheduled specific, like,
Didn't the water
in
project-
Heritage Park at that time, but
We'll make it work.
I thought the
Okay.
in-city stuff was done by September.
Well, yeah. They wanna have it done by Fall Fest, so
we
can.
do have a tentative
There
schedule.
is
That's how it
current,
goes.
at this point in time, the work on well two, which is right across the tracks, is scheduled, some of that work is currently scheduled for right around Fall Fest. That was brought up to the contractor, and I believe their response was that they could take a look at some of those pieces and move them earlier, and then delay part of it.
No, we're,
So at this point in time, I don't think we'll have a wreck there.
yeah, no, we're confident in the crew, we're confident in the contractors, and we're excited to see what holds. We just wanna, know about any curveballs if there's any coming our way.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Simon?
Alright, you guys are fiery tonight, so who's?
So do you want me to talk about it?
Just giving you an update. We're talking about our budget. We're starting to work on that. From what we can tell, our operating budget is more than likely going to be the same as it was, as what we requested for last year.
That's good news, are you sure?
Well, we're trying to keep it in that ballpark. I mean, I could make it go a
Operating.
lot, yeah, that's just operating.
It's always easy to spend
So-
more money, but
Right. With tank purchases, with SCBA tank purchase and stuff like that, those went up. So we're looking at almost $1,500 to $1,600 a cylinder. And right now, we're trying to get some more in there, cause we only have 2 bottles per pack right now. So we're trying to get our stock up a little bit more, so that way when it comes time to let these old ones go, we can. But as far as we can tell, our budget where we were at is more than likely gonna be our operating budget. We had to stop on the purchase of the tires for engine 3 for the rear, because we don't have enough in our budget right now. Fuel, our fuel costs and insurance and stuff like that gets paid wasn't factored into pulling from that budget. So that kind of put some brakes on for a minute.
what's our risk?
Well, the tires are 36 years old, so.
The tires are 36 years old.
Yes.
They're as old as the engine. We could go in tomorrow and we could have a flat tire. It's,
They don't make donuts big enough.
yeah.
Let me just ask a clarifying question. When you're talking about you don't have the budget, as in you don't have the spending authority for this year, or you don't have
Right.
the cash?
Yeah, we don't
Okay.
have the cash.
Because some of the things, when we asked for that amount, it wasn't taken into account that there was a fuel card that payments were gonna come out of what we asked for. Or the pump test,
Yeah, the pump test.
and then we know that there's also a power bill, we weren't sure if that's gonna come out of what we asked for, phone bill, the internet. So with all the overhead on top of keeping these trucks, it wasn't in what we asked for, so we had to put a halt on some of the equipment we still need.
When we move into the budgeting process, then, would you work with Carrie to make sure, to see if we can get all of these, your operating expenses covered?
Yeah, that was just the setback, is we just didn't realize the fuel and insurance that comes out, and so when all that pulled from our budget, we just stopped until we came here, and just to get an update on that.
Okay, Nate, do you have a question or comment?
It's kind of a silly question, but obviously tire blows, you guys are down the road. Possible accidents, injuries, death. Okay. Is there anything that we can do as a city council to find some money for some tires, to keep our boys safe up, our ladies safe up there? Or is that not?
Yes, we can take a look at it and see if we have some appropriation authority that we could transfer from one place to another. Okay,
Can I ask one question on that here,
Yes.
if I may? Is all the funding and revenue that comes to you guys just from the city? That's it? So there's no other,
We don't
I know it's all
have,
volunteer and all that sort of thing, but
we don't even have a 501(c) at this moment.
But you're in the process of getting that worked through.
Yes, I filed today.
I think we should get all new
Adding a
tires.
501(c)(3),
Yeah.
pardon, yeah.
Tired up.
We did the front, and that incurred more cost towards the front, because they don't make a tire that fit that rim size anymore. So that was an added cost when we did the front, and now we're trying to do the rears on at least our first out engine.
let's see what we can do,
Okay,
okay?
next, I am going to be sending a letter to the school, just in case you guys get a phone call or anything like that. It's just, there was a safety concern, there was no kids, nobody there, it was in the morning, the CO alarm went off, carbon monoxide alarm went off, and the person there said, no, cancel fire, we don't need them, we will just open up the windows and doors and air it out. And our sheriff's office did exactly what they were supposed to do, and they kept us coming. They didn't cancel us, they said no, they need to show up, and the alarm company said they will not cancel the alarm until somebody from the fire department or Northwestern Energy okays that it is safe to clear the alarm. So my goal is to send this letter to see if I can meet with the superintendent and give them a little bit more education on not to treat it like it's something where you just open up the windows. You can't do that. It makes it harder for us. When we do show up, if you have all the doors and windows open, we can't trace it. We can't follow where that's coming from. Now, it may have been a vent, just, it could have been wind or something like that. Vent didn't open up right, and it caused some exhaust to come back in and trip those alarms. They're super sensitive. But my problem and my issue is somebody from the school stated that we don't need fire, you can cancel them. This has happened on 2 occasions when a fire alarm was going off for an actual fire alarm, not carbon monoxide. Come to find out it was the kiln that just produced enough heat to set off the alarm in there. That's all that was. But that was another incident where said person said, no, we don't need them. I've already been through this whole entire place. We don't need them. No, we're not doing that. We're gonna make sure that the staff and the kids and whomever during events or whatever, the public, as safe as possible. So I will be sending a letter to see if I can't get a meeting set up to give a little bit of education to the staff and custodial staff and everybody on what to do if there's, obviously if there was kids there, they would have taken them out. Everybody would have been evacuated, but
That's probably better phrasing.
Yes,
Take
everybody
it
would have been
out.
evacuated, they know that portion, but it was beforehand, so they were like, well, there's nobody in here besides me, no, we're not gonna do that. It makes it harder for everybody to trace it, so.
All right, thank you for the heads up. Anything else?
I can't even read my own writing, so, you know. And then, we were wondering if we could get the motorhome removed from in front of the fire hall that's across the street. Right now, it's super.
One that's gonna get taken
slick.
out when you turn your truck?
It's super slick, and I'm worried that being slick, we just don't want any more hazards than we already have. Backing in is a little bit more complicated right now, just cause we have to do a little bit more maneuvering, so we make sure that we don't slide into that RV. It's been parked there for the better part of 4 months now.
Okay. Peter?
You might take a look at the parking ordinance and look at some of the measurements there, cause I recall that there's some provision in the parking ordinance about parking across from the fire hall. So,
There is. How about we get our compliance officer on that?
yeah.
You'll be very disappointed.
I will be. Want to shed some light on that?
There's no provision for parking across from the fire hall. Though there is a provision for it to be moved, and it would fall under me moved within 5 days. It's been parked there longer than 5 days, but other than that, there is no provision for that.
Maybe that was in a draft.
It was not.
You know who owns that motorhome?
Yes.
Never ran it.
We'll just have our compliance officer look into that. It's in his purview. Anything else?
A couple members have done a walkthrough of the fire hall and what the city owns and whatnot. I invite, the other council members that haven't done it, I think it would be a really good deal to come through and get a gist of what we have and where we're going. Instead of
Sure.
taking up the whole entire night here,
Is there a better time during the week, or just get hold of you, or?
yeah, weekends are usually good for. And if there's anybody from the fire committee that is interested, tomorrow night is the fire board meeting at 7:30. Rural. So if you'd like to come ask any questions on city base floor, why, that type of stuff, they meet tomorrow.
Thanks.
So there is a provision, but both of the, it's in no parking zones, 1028.020, but both of the provisions end, sorry, paragraph G, 1 and 2, both of those provisions end with or have a part of a clause in there that says when properly signposted. So that might be the problem, is that when I have the signs across the street.
Thanks. Okay, Mr. Mills is not here tonight. Moving under the pending business, is there an update to the general ordinance review?
Yes, we need to start moving quickly on several of these ordinance reviews. I'd like to start moving forward into the 2025 section, and we're still lagging on a lot of the 2024 section. So I would make a plea.
Okay, is there an events committee, meeting set?
There's not, and we need to do that because that is one of the ones that should be taken care of by now.
Okay, just a reminder that we need to have at least 2 days notice for the meeting so that we can get it posted on our board here.
We can make that
Okay.
meeting time tonight before, afterward. We'll let Carrie know.
Alright. Telecommunications, I'm presuming is on hold.
Mhm.
Fireworks.
We met, Sean was at the meeting, he gave some feedback on, the ordinances that we were looking at. JB took all that stuff from that meeting, created a draft, sent it out in email. It is ready for the city to be reviewed. I believe you sent it to Sean also
Yeah.
and the sheriff.
Yeah, the sheriff never responded, MMIA did,
Okay.
they have a couple of good points, but it doesn't materially change the draft.
So I haven't seen any of what
I
MMIA
forgot
set
to send
back.
it to you.
And then did Sean, did you send him feedback by email or did you have feedback?
Yeah, we dug into that a little bit and found out that the state fire marshal basically said, take the fire department and the city out of the equation.
What does that mean?
What a great.
That means no safety class. He said that puts a ton of liability back on the city. He said, don't dabble in that, take that out.
A safety class puts liability on the city?
Well, people are sue happy,
Yeah.
so they go to that safety class, they just burn down a house still, that person finds out they went to a safety class. That's a lawsuit. But NFPA.org has fire safety brochures that could be passed out,
Okay,
but
that's useful information.
And as far as if the city allows fireworks stands to be in the city limits, that does fall under my jurisdiction to go inspect, to make sure that they are the proper amount of feet away from, and signs posted for like, smoking and stuff within a certain amount of feet of the building and stuff like that, make sure they have at least a couple fire extinguishers, stuff like that. Yeah, that's where it came about for that.
Do you have another meeting set up?
No, not yet.
We will very quickly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cracking the whip now.
I'm cracking it. I'm attempting to anyway.
No further information yet on our garbage cans. Broadway sewer ordinance is still on hold, and the Broadwater County Hazard Mitigation Plan, what does council want to do there?
We don't actually have much of an option. We kinda
That's
have-
true.
We kinda have to take what they did and live with it.
It is that document is, they're describing it as a living document so that it can be updated as circumstances change, I believe, so it's not static and in place until this next period of time.
In other words, we could review it, and if we found something that we, the city, felt was a bit outside of our role, we could seek to have it addressed.
Yes, change that addendum, if you will, that relates to Broadwater County.
Okay, that changes this a little bit.
Need a motion for that?
I do need a motion for that. Want me to tell you what you're moving?
Sure.
Entertain a motion to participate in the Broadwater County Hazard Mitigation Plan.
I make a motion that we move to participate in the Broadwater County Hazard Mitigation Plan.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded so that the city participate in the Broadwater County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Is there any discussion from council? Discussion from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say